Hi everyone and welcome to the Concrete Podcast, where we explore the stories, the science and the sustainability behind the concrete that shapes our world. Most conversations about climate change focuses on cars, planes, oil and electricity. But there is a material beneath your feet right now, holding up your home, your hospital, your road, your city that quietly produces more carbon dioxide than aviation and shipping combined. It's not steel, it's not plastic, it's concrete. And here is the surprising part. Concrete isn't a climate villain. It's one of the most important development materials humanity has ever used. We depend on it for safe housing, clean water, transport networks, and disaster resilient infrastructure. So, if concrete emissions are huge, it's because our demand for infrastructure is huge. The real question isn't whether we should use concrete, it's how we can keep building the world we need without locking in the emissions we don't. I'm Kavishan, a PhD researcher at the University of Auckland, and today's episode is about the concrete you walk on every day and its hidden carbon story. When people think about climate change, they usually think about oil, coal, planes, cars, and plastic. Almost nobody think about concrete. But concrete is responsible for around 7 to 8% of global carbon dioxide emissions. If concrete were a country, it would be one of the world's largest emitters. Yet, here's the important truth. Concrete isn't optional. We rely on it for housing and apartments, hospitals and schools, roads, tunnels and bridges, water infrastructure, and disaster recovery and rebuilding. Concrete, which is cement, water, sand, and stones, is the second most used material on Earth after water. If concrete emissions are huge, it's because our need for infrastructure and shelter is huge. Concrete is not a villain, it's a construction material. Let's clear up a common misunderstanding. People often use the words cement and concrete interchangeably, but they are not the same. Concrete is the finished material, the stuff we build with. Cement is the glue that holds everything together. The most common type is Portland cement. We use it because it's strong, durable, fire resistant, relatively affordable, and available almost everywhere. But here is the critical part. Around 90% of concrete's total carbon emission come from cement alone. There are alternatives, but nothing else currently matches cement at the scale the world needs. And that's the part of the challenge. Now, here's the key part of the story. Most industrial emissions come from burning fossil fuels, but with cement, a large share of emissions come from chemistry itself. To make cement, limestone, which is calcium carbonate, is heated in the giant rotating kiln to around 1450 degrees Celsius. Inside the kiln, a chemical reaction happens. Limestone breaks down into calcium oxide, which becomes clinker, and calcium dioxide, which is released into atmosphere. This process is called calcination, and it accounts for around 60 to 65 of total cement emissions. That means even if a cement plant used 100% renewable energy, most emissions would still occur because they come from the material. This is why cement is one of the hardest industries in the world to decarbonize. The remaining 30 to 35% of emissions come from the energy needed to heat the kiln. Traditionally, that heat comes from coal, petroleum coke, natural gas, and sometimes waste-derived fuels. Energy emissions also come from quarrying, grinding, and transporting materials. So yes, switching to renewable energy helps, improving kiln efficiency helps, but chemistry remains the biggest challenge. And unlike many industries, cement cannot simplify, electrify, and solve the problem overnight. Here is another reason emissions are so big. The world produces around 30 billion tons of concrete every year. Demand is driven by urbanization, population growth, infrastructure upgrades, resilience after disasters, economic development in the global south. For many countries, concrete isn't just a building material, it's pathway to safe housing, transport networks, healthcare access, clean water, and disaster resilient infrastructure. So the solution cannot simplify be let's stop using concrete because millions of people still need better homes and better infrastructure. The real challenge is how do we build a fair, safer, and more resilient world without locking in high carbon materials. Sometimes people ask, why don't we just switch to timber or 3D printing or alternative binders? These solutions are promising, but they have limits: availability, durability in harsh climates, fire resistance, cost, design standards, long term performance. Engineers must balance safety, service life, environmental impact, economic feasibility. So, decarbonizing cement isn't about replacing it entirely, it's about reducing the amount of clinker we rely on and using smarter science based alternatives. The good news is innovation is accelerating. Some of the most important pathways include supplementary cementitious materials like volcanic ash, slag, fly ash, calcined clays, lower clinker cements, performance-based specifications, carbon cured or carbon enhanced concretes, energy efficient kilns, circular concrete and recycling, optimized design to use less material. In future episodes, we will dive deeper into this. Concrete is one of the world's biggest emitters, not because it failed, but because we built the modern world with it. The challenge now is not to abandon concrete, but to reimagine how we make it, how we specify it, and how we design with it. A future with safer, stronger, and more sustainable infrastructure is possible, but it requires collaboration between engineers, material scientists, policymakers, contractors, communities, and industry leaders. And that story, the story how we transition to lower carbon concrete, is one we will continue exploring in this podcast. Thank you for listening, and if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to share it with a friend, colleague, or fellow engineer. Until next time, I'm Kavishan, and this has been the Concrete Podcast.